In a quiet village nestled deep in southern Africa, where the red earth stretches out beneath an endless sky, everyone knew Nala. She was young, kind, and full of laughter, a woman whose spirit was like a flame in the hearts of those who knew her. But even as everyone knew her warmth, they also whispered about her mysterious aunt, Mzuri. They said Mzuri hadn't been seen in years, and some dared to say she dealt in dark magic. Today, however, no one thought of whispers or mysteries. Today, they only had thoughts for Nala and her groom, Thabo. The wedding preparations were in full swing, and the village buzzed with excitement. Yes, Nala was a bride, and her heart was full of hope and dreams. She would marry Thabo, the man she had loved since they were children, and together they would build a life filled with happiness. Thabo was her other half, a kind man with eyes that saw only her. But as the sun began to climb higher, a visitor came to the village, an unexpected one. Mzuri, Nala's aunt, had returned. She hadn't been seen for many, many years. The villagers whispered and cast cautious glances her way. No one could remember the last time Mzuri had set foot here, and when she walked, it was as though shadows clung to her, hiding something sinister within. Nala's mother saw her too, and her face darkened with worry. She knew all too well that Mzuri was not to be trusted. But before she could say a word, Mzuri was already in front of Nala, holding a box, a beautiful box, glistening with fine gold. For my favorite niece, she said, her voice low and smooth, I bring this dowry, a gift of the finest gold, fit for a queen. Nala's eyes grew wide as she looked at the dowry. It was jewelry more beautiful than anything she had ever seen. And even though her mother's heart filled with dread, Nala reached out and took the golden treasures, her eyes sparkling with delight. She slipped the necklace around her neck, the bracelets onto her wrists, and the earrings into her ears. She didn't see the strange glint in her aunt's eye, nor the tight, twisted smile that crept over Mjuri's face. But her mother did. She watched, feeling her stomach knot with a sense of danger she couldn't quite explain. Yet for Nala's sake, she held her tongue. And so the ceremony began. Nala, glowing with happiness and love, stood beside Thabo, and together they exchanged their vows. The jewelry around her neck and wrists gleamed in the sunlight, making her look like a queen from ancient times. The whole village was there, watching with warm, joyful hearts. But as Nala said her vows, something changed. A strange look crossed her face, just a flicker of something, a shadow, almost invisible. Thabo noticed it first, a slight unease creeping into his heart. It began slowly, a wrinkle here, a strand of grey hair there. No one understood what was happening at first. Nala swayed, gripping her head as if a sudden weight had fallen upon her. Thabo took her hand, looking at her with concern. Nala, are you all right? I I don't know, Thabo. I feel strange. She tries to smile, but the strain is evident. In moments, her face ages, her skin begins to wither, and her hair turns silver. Before their very eyes, Nala was changing. Her skin was growing pale, her hair turning silver, her body weakening, crumbling under some invisible curse. The villagers stared, horrified, unsure if what they saw was real. Her mother's scream broke the silence, and people gasped as they watched the beautiful young bride age rapidly, her vitality draining away in seconds. Thabo held her, his heart pounding with terror as her hands grew frail and her breath became shallow. He tried to hold her close, tried to whisper words of love, but her body was slipping through his fingers. And then, with a soft, faint gasp, Nala collapsed into nothing but dust. Thabo, lost in grief, is approached by a village elder who gently explains the legend of Missouri and her dark magic. He reveals that Missouri, the witch, had cursed Nala to steal her youth for herself. As Thabo sat in shock, the village elder, a wise old man, stepped forward. He looked at the dust on the ground, then at the young groom, and he knew the work of Missouri, the witch. It was Missouri's curse. He said softly, "She has taken Nala's life to make herself young again." Thabo's eyes, once filled with love, now burned with rage. He clenched his fists, his jaw tight as he realized the truth. His Nala, his love, had been taken from him by dark magic, stolen by a twisted soul who cared for nothing but her own youth and beauty. Determined to confront Missouri, Thabo gathers his courage and prepares to embark on a journey to track her down and reverse the curse. But Thabo did not crumble. No, a new fire burned within him, a desperate need to save his love, no matter the cost. He stood, wiping the tears from his face, and spoke words that chilled the air. "I will find her. I will bring Nala back if I have to cross the ends of the earth." The village watched, uncertain but awed by his bravery. And so Thabo began his journey, a journey that would take him deep into forests where no man dared to go, into caves that held secrets older than time, and through dangers that would test his every strength. Thabo's journey continues as he encounters strange, mystical beings who warn him of the dangers ahead. Each encounter tests his courage, revealing the high price of his quest. Through thick forests and dark caves, Thabo walked with only one thought in mind: Nala. He met strange beings, spirits of the land who knew the whispers of magic. They warned him, each one telling him that the price of his quest would be steep, perhaps even deadly. But Thabo didn't care. His heart had only one goal, and his eyes never strayed from the path ahead. And so, as the moon rose high, he continued his journey, each step bringing him closer to the witch who had taken his love. Night falls, and Thabo moved through an ancient forest. Shadows seem to move with him, and strange whispers fill the air. The forest feels alive, as though watching his every step. Thabo walked for days and nights, his heart heavy but his spirit unyielding. The further he went, the darker the land became. Trees twisted into haunting shapes, their branches clawing at the sky like fingers reaching out to trap lost souls. And always there were whispers, soft, sinister voices that seemed to come from the trees themselves. But he pressed on. His mind was filled with memories of Nala, her laughter, his smile, the way her eyes sparkled when she looked at him. Those memories fueled his every step. As he pushes forward, Tsabo comes across an old woman sitting by a fire. Her face is deeply wrinkled, her clothes ragged, but her eyes hold a strange wisdom. Tsabo approaches the woman cautiously, but she gestures for him to sit beside her. Without hesitation, he sits down. As he sat by her fire, the old woman studied him with a gaze that seemed to pierce into his soul. She said nothing at first, but in her silence there was a knowledge, an understanding of his pain. Finally, she spoke, her voice as soft as the wind, but as powerful as thunder. "You seek the witch, don't you? she murmured, her voice steady. You seek the one who took your bride. Yes, I seek Missouri. She stole my Nala's life, and I will have her back. The old woman nods slowly, her expression turning grave. Do you know the cost of such a journey, young man? Do you know the depths of the darkness you'll have to face? Thabo clenched his fists. He had heard warnings before, but nothing would shake his resolve. For Nala, I will face any darkness. The wise woman leaned closer. Very well. I will tell you what you need to know. But remember, Thabo, the price for reversing such a spell is greater than you can imagine. You may lose more than you bargained for. She reaches into her cloak and pulls out a small vial filled with a dark, shimmering liquid. Take this. It will protect you from the enchantments she has placed on her lair. But beware, once you enter, there is no turning back. Thabo takes the vial, nodding solemnly. Meanwhile, deep within her lair, Missouri had sensed Thabo's approach. She stood before a pool of dark water, her reflection young, vibrant, her face now that of a woman untouched by age. She smiled to herself, knowing that the life force she had taken from Nala was now hers. But her smile faded when she saw the image of Thabo moving through the forest, coming closer, undeterred by the dangers that lay between him and her. Missouri whispers to herself, so the groom is willing to risk everything for his bride, she sneered. Foolish boy, he has no idea what lies ahead. With a wave of her hand, Missouri conjures a spell, sending dark, shadowy creatures to intercept him. Their forms are twisted, with eyes that glow red in the darkness. Out of the darkness, creatures began to emerge. Their skin was like black smoke, shifting and swirling, and their eyes glowed with an unnatural fire. Thabo felt a chill run down his spine, but he gripped the vial given to him by the wise woman, remembering her words. He whispers to himself, I will not be stopped. As one of the creatures lunges at him, Thabo uncorks the vial and throws a drop of the liquid onto the ground. The dark liquid spreads, forming a protective barrier around him. The creatures recoil, hissing in pain as they attempt to cross the barrier but are unable to breach it. For a moment, Thabo feels a surge of hope, realizing that he can defeat them. With each step he took, the shadows grew weaker, shrinking back into the darkness. Thabo was unafraid, for the love he had for Nala was stronger than any fear these creatures could instill. And as he continued forward, his resolve only grew stronger. Finally, Thabo stands at the entrance to Missouri's lair. Dark vines wrap around the opening, and strange symbols are etched into the stone, pulsating with an airy glow. At last he had reached the place where the air was thick with magic, a darkness that seemed to breathe with its own life. The entrance was tangled with vines, twisted and alive, as though warning him to turn back. But Thabo stepped forward, his hand brushing the cold stone as he entered the lair. Inside, the air is dense and humid. The walls are adorned with symbols of dark magic. Every step echoes through the cave, and the faint sound of chanting can be heard deeper within. And there, at the heart of her lair, sat Missouri. She was as young and radiant as Nala had once been, her skin smooth, her hair shining. She looked at Thabo with a smile that was as cold as death. So you've come all this way, Thabo. How sweet and how foolish. You stole her from me. You stole her youth, her life, everything that she was. I want her back. Missouri laughed softly. Oh, my dear boy, do you think it's so simple? Use is not something that can be given and taken at will. The magic I have used is ancient, and once it is done, it cannot be undone. Tabo's eyes burned with anger, but behind that anger was a sorrow so deep it was as if his soul itself was crumbling. Then take my life. Let her live again. I'll give you whatever you want. Oh, Tabo, even if I agreed, what would that achieve? Would you truly leave her in a world where you do not exist? Said Missouri as she walked closer to him, her gaze as piercing as a blade. No, Tabo. If you truly want her back, there is one way, but the price may be far higher than even you are willing to pay. I'll pay anything, said Tabo. There before him was Nala, his beloved Nala. She looked at him with sad, longing eyes, but when he reached for her, his hand passed through her like mist. Missouri, this is the closest you'll ever get to her again, Thabo. You can join her, but that means giving up everything. Your life, your memories, your soul. It is a bond that not even death can break. Thabo looks at Nala's spirit, his heart torn between life and the shadow of a love that could never truly return. Tabo's face is filled with anguish. He knows the choice before him could mean losing everything, but his love for Nala is unwavering. In that moment, Tabo's heart was split in two. He had come to save Nala, but now he realized that the cost would be everything. He would join her, but it would mean leaving the world, leaving behind everything he'd known. It was a sacrifice few would make. But Tabo's love was fierce, unyielding, and as he looked into Nala's ghostly eyes, he knew he could never let her go. With a final breath, he stepped forward, accepting the dark bargain Missouri had laid before him. As he takes Missouri's hand, a powerful force erupts, surrounding him and Nala in a whirl of shadows. Thabo stands amidst swelling shadows, his hand clasped in Missouri's. The dark magic begins to pulse, surrounding him with an intense, consuming energy. At that moment, as the spell of life and death unfolded, Thabo felt his own essence slipping away. But even as his life force faded, his heart beat only for Nala. His love was stronger than the darkness, brighter than the curse that had stolen her. Suddenly, a brilliant light erupted from within him, a glow so pure that it shattered the shadows surrounding them. Missouri gasped, trying to pull back, but the light was unstoppable. In his heart, Thabo called out for Nala, his voice carrying his unbreakable love. He whispers with all his heart, Nala, come back to me. In that instant, Missouri's dark magic unraveled. Her youth, stolen through deception, fled from her, and she grew frail and withered before Thabo's eyes. The life force she had taken was drawn back, following the call of true love, flowing back into the figure of Nala. And there, in the midst of shattered spells and fading shadows, Nala appeared, whole, alive, and radiant as she had been on her wedding day. Thabo! Thabo, is it really you? Thabo, with tears of joy in his eyes, rushes to her, embracing her with all the strength left in his heart. Nala, you're here. You're really here. They hold each other tightly, their love stronger than ever, their hearts unbroken. As Thabo and Nala embrace, Missouri falls to the ground, weakened and defeated. She looks up at the reunited couple with despair and anger, realizing that her greed has cost her everything. Love, love has always been a foolish thing. It is nothing but a weakness. Missouri bitter, her voice fading. But her words held no power, for she was left with only the emptiness she had chosen. Her greed and her need for youth had consumed her, and now she was nothing more than a shadow of the witch she had been. She withered away, her body dissolving into dust, carried off by the wind, just as she had tried to do to Nala. Tabo and Nala, hand in hand, returned to their village. The villagers who had mourned Nala are astonished and overjoyed to see her alive, whole, and full of life. They rush to embrace her, tears of joy filling their eyes. The village was alive with celebration once more. Word of Nala's return spread quickly, and the people gathered to welcome her and Thabo. They had seen love triumph over the darkness, and they rejoiced, their hearts warmed by the miracle before them. You have shown us that true love holds a power no darkness can conquer, said an elder, smiling at the couple. And so the village learned a great truth that night. They saw that love, when it is pure and strong, is more powerful than even the deepest curse. True love does not seek to possess or control. It gives, it sacrifices, and in its selflessness, it finds a strength that no evil can defeat. And as for Tabo and Nala, they had been tested in ways they never imagined, but their bond had only grown stronger. They had proven that love is not a weakness, but a power that shines brighter than any curse, a gift that endures even beyond the boundaries of life and death. As we say goodbye to this tale, remember that the truest magic lies not in spells or charms, but in the love that binds our hearts, the love that stands unbroken against all odds. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe for more tales of wonder, mystery, and the powerful magic of love.